Welcome back folks, and welcome back to a new video. So today we're gonna be reviewing Xbox Game Showcase, which happened yesterday, where they showed a huge lineup of titles coming from Xbox Game Studios and also their partners. I'm gonna be honest, in my personal opinion, I do think that this is one of the better Xbox Game Showcases that has happened in the past few years, being that, well, first off, they showed a huge variety of titles because there is something for everyone, and the second one, being a more maybe subjective feeling to it, is that they showed a lot of games that I am genuinely excited about. So in this video I'm going to cover those games, and I'm going to cover some of the games that I'm keeping my eye out on, being that there wasn't a lot of gameplay, or well, no gameplay at all for the time being. And also on social media I've seen that a majority of people were really happy with the showcase, what it presented, and I think it has to do something because they showed a lot of games that people are genuinely excited about, and franchises and IPs that people kinda grew up with. And whenever that happens, of course, you're going to have people praising you, because at the end of the day, you're kinda going back to your roots, especially when it comes to Xbox, with some of their games that were kinda what made Xbox in the past, like going from like Gears of War and etc, which I'm going to cover in this video, don't worry about it. So the first game I'm going to talk about is probably not going to be a surprise for people who have been on this channel for a while, and that's Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. So Stalker, for a lot of people who are from my region, like from the Balkan region or from Europe, they kinda grew up with these games, and there is a huge connection that we have with Stalker in general. And going back to the Zone after all of these years in this new graphical fidelity is going to be amazing. So the trailer starts off with Richter and Skiff, you know, kind of exiting this area and going outside into the Zone. And one of the things which I do like is that they're showing the passage of time, because, well, this game is gonna be set after all of the events in the previous Stalker games, so we can see that the vegetation has started to kind of grow over some of the locations that we know and, you know, kind of been in the previous games. So just revisiting those locations in general is going to be nice, because now we're going to see them in a much higher graphical fidelity with new animations, overall just better graphics, textures, and I'm really excited to see where the story is going to continue, especially going from the previous games, and what sort of characters, returning characters, we're going to meet throughout the title. Now, I'm also really happy that they're actually showing gameplay from the game itself and not just cutscenes, where we're going to see, like, obviously hunting for anomalies, shooting different factions in the game, going after different mutants, and a lot of mutants that we know from the game, and something that, as it should be, where they're going to be tricky to fight, and also there is going to be this element of horror and just this anxiety that you're going to have as you're traveling to the Zone, especially if you decide to play this game on very much higher difficulties. I know some people were asking why, you know, Skiff was going too easy through these characters, especially knowing how difficult Stalker games can be, especially with AI kind of shooting you very easily. And developers said that, of course, this gameplay was recorded on the easiest difficulty so they can have these cool moments. So again, as it was in previous Stalker games, you are going to have different difficulty options to choose from, and that's definitely good. I also do like how animations work when it comes to weapons. Overall, I'm also gonna be someone who's gonna be removing the hood immediately, because I just love playing this game without the hood, to really get the feeling of the world and to get immersed even more into it. Now, of course, I will have a more detailed video on Stalker 2 where I'm gonna be really going through the trailer like frame by frame, so we can analyze it properly and talk about everything else. This video is mostly oriented about the showcase itself. But overall, Stalker 2 is coming out on September 5th, so we're kinda 3 months away from it. I honestly cannot believe that we are finally getting this game after all of these years, and after years of thinking like that Stalker 2 is never going to happen to this point right now is honestly amazing. Now the next game which we're gonna talk about is Doom: The Dark Ages. I will be honest, I was not expecting this because, well, I wasn't following the leaks or, well, some of the like speculations people had, and I was surprised that Doom is coming out so soon after the previous Doom game, so it was definitely a very nice surprise. Now keep in mind that Doom: The Dark Ages is coming out in 2025, so it's gonna be a while until we see it, but just from the trailer itself we can see the carnage, we can see that we're gonna be ripping and tearing through monsters like we got used to, so this is always a lot of fun to play. And being that also this is one of my favorite franchise which I grew up with, to have this like just fidelity and it looks so good, and that the carnage is back and we're gonna be fighting all of these big monsters, especially having this mech suit as well, having different weapons to go from, just exploring it and just, you know, being a badass is gonna be truly amazing. So yes, I am always gonna be for Doom, and I cannot wait to finally play this. But you know, again, it's coming out in 2025. What I've seen so far, yes, it's definitely going to be that. It's gonna be bloody, it's gonna be difficult if you go for higher difficulties, but at the same time it's gonna be extremely satisfying to go through the finishers and to fight these monsters. Next game on the list is Avowed, being that I was kind of looking forward to this, you know, ever since that first teaser trailer, because first, well, it's Obsidian. I love Obsidian games in general, so from that standpoint I really do like how the world looks. I know some of the people were kind of surprised about the art style being kind of different from that initial first teaser trailer, but for me this kind of looks intriguing. And you know, having, you know, being, you know, Obsidian, we're gonna be able to make decisions throughout the game, especially in the trailer it also says choose your side. So from that standpoint I'm always gonna be playing this, and I do believe that Obsidian accidentally revealed when this is coming out, so apparently Avowed is coming out in November 12th this year, so it's gonna be a few months until we play it, but this wasn't officially revealed, so I don't know if they accidentally leaked this, or maybe they want to reveal this later, or maybe this is going to be, you know, set in a different date. But so far it seems November 12th is going to be the date when Avowed comes out, and you can definitely expect videos from this game as well, because, well, again, it's an RPG and I'm really interested to see what this world has to offer. Next game on the list is Age of Mythology Retold. I'm not gonna lie, I had a smile on my face through the entire trailer, because for me and probably a lot of my generation, Age of Mythology is an RTS game we grew up with, and for me it's one of my favorite RTS games of all time. And I actually revisited the original Age of Mythology that I had, like I had a CD of it, which I found like stored somewhere, it was full of dust, but I replayed it again and it was amazing. So to now have a new, or well, reboot of Age of Mythology, to have it in a much higher graphical fidelity, new animations, etc, is gonna be amazing. So I just hope that in the end when it comes out it's gonna be polished and it's going to work well, because again, as I said, for a lot of people this was a game that they hold really close to heart, including me. So I'm definitely gonna be covering this on the channel as well. We shall see for how long, but again, it's coming out September 4th this year. It's just gonna be around the corner, and I'm gonna be honest, September is gonna be real busy with this and Stalker 2, so good times, very good times for us RTS players. And also, going from the trailer, I do like how they maintain the style of the original game, especially going with the titans and the gods, and you know, just having a classic RTS title, building up, going after your opponent, sending those troops. That's gonna be a lot of fun to do again. Now after this we also have a official trailer for the first Starfield expansion, Shattered Space. So in this expansion we're gonna be exploring more about House Va'ruun, which is kinda gonna be nice, because, you know, considering that I was kinda interested in House Va'ruun in the base game in general. Now, you know, as it is, and what problems were with Starfield is that the initial release of this game was kind of having mixed opinions with people. To be honest, I didn't really have a huge problem with Starfield. I played it for a long period of time, but of course there were a lot of things which were not kind of fun for me. Without spoiling too much, I thought the main story was kind of weak. I enjoyed more of the side stories and side adventures throughout this game rather than the main story itself, and I do believe that the pacing of the main story kind of threw a lot of people off. Now, one of the things that is kind of prevalent with Bethesda is that their expansions, usually at least one or two of them for every single game, tend to be these amazing experiences. Like for example, Far Harbor was for Fallout 4. Far Harbor was very much loved by people. So I do hope that Shattered Space is going to be Far Harbor of Starfield. I hope that happens. Now, of course, I will be covering this once it comes out. I think they're really going into this mystical, magical space stuff, which, you know, at the end of the day, I'm okay with. I wish the game was a little bit more grounded in that sense, but, you know, it is what it is. But we'll see. We'll see how much they have learned from the release and what sort of changes we can expect. Also, I do believe that Starfield had a new update because the creation kit has been released for the game. So at least when it comes to modding community, I expect a lot of mods for the game in the upcoming, you know, weeks and months and years for it. So Shattered Space is gonna be coming out this year, but we still don't have the exact release date. Maybe it's gonna be November as well, maybe December, we shall see. I'm not gonna be making any assumptions until they officially reveal it. And also I do hope when it comes to like just the main story wise of Shattered Space, I hope it's been streamlined more than the base game in that sense, and that it actually kind of brings people back to Starfield. But we shall see how this goes. I'm not gonna be making any assumptions until I properly play this, you know. Next game on the list is Perfect Dark. So I've been following kind of on my own the development of this game, and I know that for a longer period of time there were a lot of reports that the actual development is in danger, that the game is not looking how it's supposed to be, but finally we actually have a proper trailer for it. So this is going to be a remake, or well, a reboot in a sense of the original Perfect Dark game, which came out in the year 2000 for Nintendo 64. It was developed and published by Rare. So this is something which is beloved by a lot of people. So I really hope that, well, when this comes out, well, first of all, it's polished enough so it doesn't have any issues, but on the gameplay side, I think they are maintaining what the original game had and, you know, is supposed to represent. And so far, just from the gameplay perspective, I think they nailed it. But again, once this comes out, we shall see how it's gonna be playing out. I think that this game is gonna be great for a lot of people who have never played Perfect Dark in the past, you know, being that it's a very old game and not a lot of people have access to N64, and not a lot of people want to go into emulators, which, you know, is a totally different story. But if you can, and if you find a way, I do recommend playing out through the original so you can kinda see when the, well, Perfect Dark comes out, the new one, you can kind of make an assumption or, well, comparison on how well does it hold out. But at least from the gameplay we've seen, which I'm really happy that they've showed actual gameplay, I think that this is going to be very good, but we shall see. And also going from like different tactics, using different gadgets, weapons to take down enemies and to go through the level is back, so that's very good, that's nice. Next game on the list is Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake, or Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So I'm also someone who really does enjoy Metal Gear Solid games. Now, of course, whenever they want to do a remake of a title, especially a beloved title like MGS 3, there is always this little fear that I have that maybe it's not going to live up to its, you know, expectations. But at least trailer-wise, they really took the original game and they made it, or well, upgraded it to higher fidelity and retained and maintained the feeling that people had in the original. So this is something I'm really looking forward to. I'm definitely gonna be playing this. I will be, you know, covering it on the channel, but this was a surprise. I wasn't aware that they're gonna be doing a remake of MGS 3. Maybe I missed it. Maybe there was leaks and rumors which I just didn't, you know, follow up on, but to have this out soon, relatively soon, is gonna be great. And just going from the gameplay, they pretty much retained like the original feeling of it, like being a one-man army sneaking about and not just going, you know, full guns blazing, because at the end of the day, Snake is kinda alone here and he has to fight through multiple enemies. So, you know, you kinda have to take into account there's gonna be a lot of sneaking, there's gonna be a lot of tactics you can utilize to go and do your objectives. So yeah, this is nice. I cannot wait to get this. Next game which we're gonna be covering is Fable. So I think Fable right now is, well, looking at the like and dislike ratio here, there is a lot of mixed opinions that people have about it. So without going too far into the main character and all of that, I mean, graphical fidelity wise, I really do like how this looks like. Just looking at the level design itself, it looks absolutely nice. And you know, when you don't have too much gameplay where, you know, some of it is gameplay, some of it is, you know, cutscenes, it is difficult to kind of see how the game is gonna be playing out. My most important thing for Fable is that it retains what made Fable great. So making decisions, and those decisions ultimately shaping your character and the world around you. I think for me that is going to be the most important aspect of this game, that it retains that RPG element of older Fable titles. And if they capture that, I think, you know, I don't think I'm gonna be having a problem with this overall. Next game on the list is State of Decay 3. So out of all of these games, State of Decay is something that I played the least, just because I don't know what happened at that time, I just didn't really get into it too much. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be returning to State of Decay 1 and 2 to kinda get the feeling of the game again. So one thing which I always loved in horror games, or well, survival game, because I don't think this is too much of a horror, more of a survival title, are zombies. Whenever a game has zombies, I have to test it out, see what it is, and kinda play through it a little bit. So I will be going through this, I will be reviewing this once it comes out, so we'll see. I mean, the overall tone of the trailer is pretty good. It seems that they're showing, I don't know if this is in-engine, you know, CGI stuff, but I think there is a lot of in-engine stuff that they have shown, and somewhat the feeling that we're going to get from the game, the atmosphere itself. So far looks interesting. I will be checking this out, but yeah. Next title we're gonna be talking about is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So an indie game, that is always interesting, but one of the things which captured my attention is, of course, the graphical fidelity. Again, this looks absolutely beautiful, I mean, from that standpoint. And being that this is going to be a first-person indie game is kind of interesting to me as well. I know a lot of people were asking, like, why is this not a third-person title? But to be honest, if the overall like first-person gameplay is alright, I will not mind it like at all. So I love indie films, so, you know, going through this should be fun. We'll see once this comes out, but the tone, at least, of the game is, they captured it well from the movies, so, you know, again, should be fun. Next game on the list is Gears of War E-Day. So this is something that, well, I know a lot of people are happy about. So I got into Gears of War pretty late, being that these games were not so popular where I was, at least, you know, growing up. I kind of missed up on them, but when I got the actual Game Pass, when, you know, kind of became available here, I got through, I think, 2 Gears of War games. I know there is 5, 6, I believe, Gears of War games, so I will be going through them again, you know, starting with the first one and then, you know, catching up on the story, because, well, there is a lot of lore here which I've missed. But I honestly cannot wait for Gears of War, because the combat and the gameplay was always a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it, especially on higher difficulties. I know how difficult it is for me the first time, because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be playing on the highest difficulty, and wow, I kind of sweated a lot, you know, through some of those levels. So this is something I'm also going to definitely cover. Next game on the list is Dragon Age the Veilguard, and this is probably the most talked about game since yesterday, especially because of the trailer itself, and a lot of people were not happy with how the trailer looked like because, well, obviously it's kind of going in a very much different direction than what previous Dragon Age games were doing, at least when it comes to the actual art style, and it's really not doing, you know, the title any justice whatsoever. If we actually go to YouTube, the like and dislike ratio is just wild here. And for me personally also, I kind of felt like that this trailer is definitely not it, and it's, you know, it's actually going to do the game more damage than it's going to do its justice. But I was also debating if I'm going to release, well, talk about this game today or tomorrow, because tomorrow we have a full official gameplay reveal, but today Dragon Age, on Twitter at least, has released a 24-second sneak peek into the gameplay, and at least looking from like these 24 seconds, obviously I don't know what the rest is going to be, is looking totally different to what, you know, that trailer was showing, at least when it comes to art direction, or at least when it comes to the atmosphere you get in the game. It's definitely different. Now, of course, this is uploaded to Twitter, and we know that the quality of video on Twitter is not the greatest, so you kind of have to wait until tomorrow to see it in full detail, which is going to tell us a little bit more about it. And I'm also looking, you know, forward to this game for a very long time, because I played Dragon Age Origins when it was released, and that game is one of my favorite games of all time, because it felt like a grand adventure, fighting the Darkspawn, going into the Fade, and, you know, meeting different characters. All of the twists and turns which happened throughout the story were amazing, and it actually felt to me like a Lord of the Rings story, because you had to go on this really long path until the end, and you had to go through many different adventures, and all of that was culminating towards its end. So again, I will of course review this game once it releases. It's not coming out anytime soon. Keep in mind that this is coming out in the fall of 2024, so we still have a bit more time until this releases overall, but at least these 24 seconds are looking a bit different than that trailer, and I think that to be honest, if they only went with this and not that trailer, I think the game would do much better than it is, you know, doing right now, at least on YouTube. So this is pretty much it for Xbox Game Showcase. Of course, they had a little bit more games. They talked about Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, but you know, we'll see once that comes out. I'm not really a big Call of Duty channel, so you know, that's something I didn't really want to cover in this video, but I kind of cover games I'm very much looking forward to, and some of the games which I'm kind of keeping an eye on to see how the, you know, final product is gonna be. When it comes to me and when it comes to my opinions about games, I kind of save my biggest opinion to when I play the title, because there has been many games in the past that kind of bamboozled me with the trailer, like they had a great trailer, game comes out not that good, or on the other side, they have a bad trailer and then the game comes out and it's alright. So I will, for some of these games, I will definitely reserve my opinion when the, you know, actual game comes out. But so far, honestly, a very good, great Xbox Game Showcase, and I hope they continue with this, you know, for the future. And hopefully now, the only thing which matters now for all of these titles is that they come out in a polished, good state. If that happens, it's gonna be fine. So hopefully none of these games have a problematic release where things are not gonna be functioning, where you're gonna have bugs and issues. Now, of course, they can happen, but at least I hope that they are gonna be released in the most polished state yet. So that's good. And of course, one of the pluses, huge pluses for this, is that all of the, you know, main Xbox Game Studio games are gonna be coming out to Xbox Game Pass as well. Not all of them, of course, from partners, not all, but from them, definitely yes. So that's a big plus, because at least you can, you know, test out the game, see if you like it or not. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, because you do help the channel in the algorithm that way. And also let me know down below in the comments, what do you think about these titles? What do you think about Xbox Game Showcase? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Which games you liked? Which games you disliked? Let me know down below in the comments. And again, please stay civil. I'm always open to just having people say their opinions, whatever it is, but for as long as everyone is civil and we can have a normal, proper discussion about all of this. So thank you for watching. Huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters, and also check us out on Twitter and Discord. This is LKM signing out. Stay classy everyone, and bye bye.